If you're managing a growing AWS setup, you know that feeling, right? Just drowning in a sea of resource IDs? Well, today we're going to look at a really powerful built-in CloudWatch feature that helps you cut through all that chaos and get to crystal clarity. It's going to completely transform how you monitor your stuff at scale.
Does your monitoring dashboard feel like a total mess? You're trying to watch this sprawling, dynamic AWS environment. New resources are popping up, old ones are vanishing, and you're stuck trying to track this crazy list of cryptic IDs just to figure out what's going on. If you're nodding along, then you are in exactly the right place.
So the heart of the problem is a classic scaling issue. When you only have a few servers or databases, sure, tracking them one by one is no big deal. But as your cloud footprint explodes, that manual approach just becomes completely impossible.
And this is exactly why trying to base your monitoring and your alarms on individual resource IDs is just a recipe for failure in a modern cloud world. You've got auto-scaling groups, serverless functions, containers that live for minutes. The whole idea of a static, unchanging resource ID? That's ancient history. Your monitoring has to be as dynamic as your infrastructure is.
But what if? What if you could group, filter, and alert on your resources using a language you actually get? A language based on your apps, your environments, your teams? Well, guess what? You can. And you do it with a feature called Resource Tags for Telemetry, right inside Amazon CloudWatch.
The easiest way to think about it is like this. It's like giving all your cloud resources little permanent searchable name tags for all their performance data. It grabs the tags you're already using for things like billing and organization, app billing SVC or env production, and it just automatically stitches them right onto your CloudWatch metrics.
Now here's the best part. What does this amazing capability cost? Zero, nothing. This feature, which uses AWS Resource Explorer in the background to find and index all your tags, is available at no extra cost. It's basically a free, massive upgrade to your entire monitoring strategy.
Okay, so how do you get this thing turned on? You're probably bracing for some complicated, multi-step setup process, but you're going to be surprised at how simple this actually is. First things first, there is one little prerequisite. The IAM user or role you're using needs to have the right permissions to turn the feature on. This is just a one-time setup deal, basically to give CloudWatch permission to talk to AWS Resource Explorer and create the roles it needs. So these are the specific permissions you'll need. Don't worry about memorizing them. They just let CloudWatch create a service-linked role and hook into Resource Explorer to find all your tags. Just make sure these are in your IAM policy and you are good to go. And once those permissions are sorted, turning this on is literally a three-step process. You just go to the CloudWatch console, click on Settings, find the Resource Tags for Telemetry section, and flip the switch to on. That's it. It's honestly that easy.
So once you flip that switch, this is where the magic really starts to happen. This is the moment you stop just collecting data and start getting real, actionable insights. The aha moment is when you realize you don't have to think in terms of those crazy resource IDs anymore.
And this just shows the change perfectly. It's a total transformation. You go from trying to remember what on earth instance I0123ABCD is supposed to be doing to just asking CloudWatch, hey, show me the CPU for everything tagged NV production. It is a fundamental shift in how you see your metrics. This unlocks some seriously powerful new moves. You can write metrics insights queries that group everything by a tag so you can see the average latency across all functions for one specific microservice. You can build alarms that automatically cover new resources the second they're launched, as long as they have the right tag. No more manually updating alarms every time you scale.
Okay, now, before you rush off to the console to enable this, there are a few key operational details and, let's call them pro tips, that you'll want to know to make sure everything goes smoothly.
First up, let's talk about scope. This isn't just for EC2 and S3, okay? This thing supports telemetry enrichment for over 150 different AWS resource types. That means you can use this same strategy across pretty much your entire cloud environment. And you can see it covers all the heavy hitters you're using every day. We're talking EC2 instances, S3 buckets, Lambda functions, DynamoDB tables, the works. So you get this consistent, tag-based way to monitor almost your entire AWS estate. All right, let's talk about the number one gotcha that trips people up. So you've enabled the feature, you wait a little while, you write your very first tag-based query in Metrics Insights, and you get nothing back. No error, just empty results. What in the world is going on?
Here it is. This is almost always the problem. For your tags to work with these queries, they must use only ASCII characters. That's it. If you have tags with emojis or international characters or other funky symbols, those tags will just get skipped and your query will fail silently. So, stick to good old ASCII and you'll be golden.
And finally, let's talk about timing, because it's important to know what to expect. After you turn the feature on, give it up to 3 hours for CloudWatch to go out and discover all of your resource tags. And if you ever decide to turn it off, the enrichment stops right away, but all the data that was already enriched will stick around and be queryable for up to 14 days.
So now you know the technical side of things, but there's one last absolutely critical piece of this puzzle. This feature is incredibly powerful, but how effective it is for you depends completely on the quality of your own tagging strategy.
This quote from the documentation really just nails it. The whole power of this thing is that it adapts to your business logic. It doesn't care how you organize things. Whether it's by team, project, or application, you can now monitor your cloud the exact same way you manage it.
When you get it right down to it, this is so much more than just a little toggle switch in the console. It really represents a big shift towards a more logical, scalable, and business-focused way of doing cloud monitoring. It closes that gap between your tech and your organizational structure.
So I'll just leave you with this one final thought. The tool is here, it's free, and it's super easy to turn on. The only question left is this: is your tagging strategy ready to unlock its full potential?